Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the EUNIC cluster in Athens for inviting me. Thank you to all of you for coming on a wonderful Friday afternoon, early evening. The sun was shining. I left Copenhagen this morning. We had ice, and yesterday we had 30 centimeters of snow. So I was almost, I thought about applying for Greek citizenship. Maybe stay at least until after Christmas and New Year's. Well, maybe I should introduce myself a little bit. I'm here as president of EUNIC, but like all other people, you carry all kinds of luggage in terms of what you have worked and lived with. And I have worked quite a lot for many, many years in a mixture of public and private jobs. I spent quite a long time as a Danish diplomat. I was ambassador in Latvia and Poland. I spent 5 years in New York. I worked in the Middle East, studied Arabic in Cairo, studied Russian in Russia, ran an airline called SAS for a number of years, in charge of the Danish part of the airline, participating in establishing a commercial television station in Denmark. And then when I got older, I decided that I should give up all those crazy things and start to work seriously with what it all begins with, culture. And have done that basically all my life without really knowing it. Now I do it full-time in charge of the Danish Cultural Institute, and also now in charge of the EUNIC organization, which is a tiny little setup, but a beautiful attempt among the European national cultural institutes to create common platforms that can serve as additional glue made of cultural components, glue that is sometimes much more powerful than the passing glue on various political colors and attempts to fix the patchwork of Europe. So strong belief in culture as a human glue for well-being and happiness. Most of what I say will be basically not necessarily any official opinion of EUNIC, because we don't have that many official opinions, apart from the fact that we do share strong belief in culture. We have worked over this last couple of years very much focusing on culture as part and an integral part of an intelligent foreign relations handling phenomena. That has sometimes taken too much of our focus on things that happen far away from Europe. And I see this event as a very important example of phenomena that both EUNIC and all the European member states and all the European countries around us should focus on. That is also how we actually try to live together in a civilized way. Now, handling the issue of migration, of refugees, one of the painful things is the way we talk about each other as people. And I think my starting point as a former cultural anthropologist who turned out to become political scientist and then became diplomatic in business, my starting point is that we are all human beings. We are all trying to live a safe, nice, happy life, finding our livelihood together with other people. Whether we are refugees, migrants from Copenhagen or Munich or Athens, we share common dreams at a very basic human level. And we should remember that so we don't talk too bad about each other. We should also note that those nations that we consist of have been mistreating many issues because they were too complicated for them to face for many different reasons. We have been doing a lot of harm over several years, both to migrants and refugees and to ourselves, by pushing people around, by setting up barriers, and by raising the temperature of xenophobia and nationalism, which has been the typical political reaction, looking inwards to protect what is seen as national interests and sovereignty, fearing consequences of large inflows of refugees and migrants. The European attempts to find common and practical solutions are hampered by pretty much the same short-sighted nationalistic resistance from all member states. There's not one better than the other, except maybe Germany and maybe Sweden, with all the figures. We seem to have lost some of the basic solidarity between member states. We have lost some of the expected empathy that could be expected from a continent like ours, a continent that has suffered enormously from our internal mess of civil wars, accompanying challenges much larger than the challenges we're actually facing today. We should be a little bit ashamed of ourselves in face of our incapacity to face the problems that we actually have today. The European values that we often praise when we are together with people we already agree with are certainly interesting to discuss. I, as a practical person, find it much more interesting to spend time and energy on finding ways in which we can share methods of working together in a functionalistic context of doing things together to find common solutions to common problems. Too often, our discussions about refugees and migration start with values and end with values, and not much is done in between. It takes focus away from working on the development of real-world problems. So the sharing of solutions is the best way to find also and to develop common values. Show it, don't tell it, is in my mind a simple and relevant approach. The election of a new president, Mr. Trump, will without doubt add to the necessity of working even more on European solutions. We cannot any longer take it for granted that the US will be standing, waiting behind us and helping us if we don't get our act together. We will see risks in shifts in foreign policy. We will see economic risks also that will be stressing both our political systems and, unfortunately, probably be increasing the differences between rich and poor. In a way, the US election, like the Brexit, should be taken from us as a wake-up call. There is so much deep anger and skepticism out there. Trump saw it, he capitalized on it. It should leave us in Europe, leave us all, with food for thought, for self-critical thinking. We may have to reinvent the cultural sector from within and further develop its potential to become an agent for social change. We cannot remain inactive. We have to work for a new movement built on respect and empathy, to listen to those who feel unheard. We have to work for a future that is sustainable and trust-driven for all. Many thought that this century would be an American century. It doesn't look like that now. The Trump presidency will, in my opinion, be more likely to mess it up. We should take the ambition to make this a European century. If we don't give it another try, we all risk to lose. In short, we've got to get our act together. We have to improve European cultural cooperation, including work together on how to solve issues of migration and refugees. We have to do it without becoming politicians. It's much too important an issue to be left to politicians, just as a war is much too important to be left to generals. And why is culture a tool? Very simple, ladies and gentlemen, because it works. It simply works. Look at it. You have to instrumentalize it, of course. You have to realize that culture is a multifaceted phenomenon, and then you use it in terms of refugees and inclusion. You have to design it so that it works both ways. It's not just a question of having value clauses for refugees. You have to look at both the receiving end and the arriving end. The receivers, and those that come to us, and those that actually receive. Otherwise, we drive our societies into a negative spiral of negative attitudes that will be directed by nationalistic and populistic politicians. So we should also, on the receiving end, improve our understanding and knowledge of those people that actually come to our countries. It's easier to say for a day because we don't get as many as you guys do. But we are basically all migrants, and we, no matter where you are in Europe, you are all part of a common European identity, and we belong basically to the same kind of tribes. So we can actually understand each other if we give it a try. None of what culture can do that has to be very expensive. The simple trick is that the tools we need are already there. We have to tune them in terms of manpower, availability, get some money to facilitate, say, a new norm of very high demand of an unending flow of migrants from all over, maybe even soon from the US, like we had it in Europe in the 1930s and 1960s. Very simple examples from the little kingdom of Denmark, which of course has no necessarily strong track record of success in handling refugees. You all remember we made a tough legislation early on this year to steal all value from refugees that came to Denmark at the Danish-German border. The police was instructed to take jewelry away from refugees from the Middle East, which was completely ridiculous. But the Danish government had the opinion that that would be a good idea because then they could finance themselves. Our border controls were strengthened, and we started to advertise in Arab media to prevent people from the Middle East to go to Denmark. It was completely ridiculous. But actually, again, when you move out of the political world, you find a totally different reality. You find civil society where there is a thriving interest in actually opening existing cultural institutions for people that come from all over the world. A phenomenon like public libraries. We have a very strong public library tradition in Denmark. They have typically become safe havens for multicultural meetings where you share experience from your various lives, whether lived in Syria or northwestern Denmark. And it has really become a very powerful melting pot of intercultural understanding. And I think the basic lesson is that we should structure and develop the use of existing institutions, existing organizations, to facilitate what you could call kinds of cultural meetings, de-dramatize the differences, and create some kind of mutual awareness and respect for each other's cultures and each other's talents. We all have them. What role can culture play? Well, obviously, any cultural action has a powerful potential to create this understanding, and also by this understanding play a role in conflict prevention. And again, it works both ways, and we need that process of a two-way relationship. It will ultimately humanize us and them. An often used action that I see in many places in civil society in Denmark where cultural meetings take place is simple storytelling. We tell us our stories, they tell us their stories. And it can be done with all kinds of different cultural media, singing, dancing, eating together. Everything is possible, and it's very simple. What should the public sector do? Open those institutions and give them a little bit additional resources, and there will be lots of energy coming out of it. Basic language training, obviously, number one. If you cannot talk together, you don't get a long way. We cannot all dance ballet together, it would be nice if we could. We need a language. And we should inspire all the newcomers to, as much as possible, to become involved in our normal cultural life. It's not enough just to give courses. We need to open our cultural life for newcomers. It's a fantastic soft power tool for learning about our ways of living. Our cultural expressions are much less ex cathedra, this is our values, these are our rules, live by them. If you experience them in cultural phenomena, it's a soft kind of influence, and it becomes part of some personal experience, it becomes part of your soul. Again, also, this provides the knowledge and the status to people that can facilitate the process of inclusion. What should the EU do? What should the member states do? Support the public sectors and the private sectors and the NGOs so that these institutions can get resources and power to develop these relationships. The cultural institutes, the EUNIC, we should try to develop projects that are relatively simple, down to earth. Don't reinvent a lot of things. We have so much already that just can be twisted a little bit. We should set up some mechanisms so that what you get out of this conference can be also something that can be shared with others. We should have stronger mechanisms of shared practices. We should work hard to try to develop small projects together that can serve as models for documenting that these problems are shared, and the responsibility to take action can likewise be shared. We should show that solving these things together is possible. Take time, cost maybe a little bit of money, but in the final analysis, both human, economic, and cultural values will improve. Thank you for your attention.